Hey friends, welcome back to Pages and Grace. My name is Jess. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to share the 26 books that I want to make a priority in 2026. So for the last 3 years, I've made myself a list of 24 books and then 25 books and this year 26 books from my physical shelves that I want to get to this year. While I absolutely love having a backlog of physical TBR books to get to that I can just browse my shelves and pick something up, I also like to make sure that I'm actually reading them. So before 2024, before I started doing this, there were a lot of books that would just sit there and sit there and sit there. And I was interested in them, but I never made it a priority to pick them up because I'm such a mood reader. I don't like doing TBRs all the time, but this is my one big TBR of the year that I really try to hold myself to. At least try the books. Even if I DNF them, at least pick them up and try them. So I have a list of 26 books, and it looks a little bit different than last year. So last year I had some books that I had purchased the previous year. There were a lot of newer books, books that I had paid a higher price for. This year, it's a lot of used books. Last year, there were some newer books on the list. This year, not near as many. Most of these books came from a thrift store, except for the classics that I got for my birthday. Those were definitely brand new. One of the things I did notice that I made a priority was my classic shelf. As I went through and I filmed the TBR shelf unread classics shelf, which will be coming out here soon. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put almost all of the unread classics are now on my 2026 list. Over the past 2 years, I've read a lot more classic fiction, and I've thoroughly enjoyed most of them. And so that's got me in this mindset of I really need to try more authors and kind of branch out to see what else is out there. So a lot of this list you're going to see more classics. Now you're also going to see other things I've thrown in. There's a lot more Catholic nonfiction on this list than last year. I have acquired a lot more books that I want to get to. Now, are there more books that I definitely want to get to in 2026 that are on my mental TBR to get to? Absolutely. These are ones that I physically already own that I want to make a priority to either move up to my read shelves. I guess I could explain this. So the way my bookshelves are structured, for the most part, all of these books that you can see are read, and the ones down below are not read. My TBR shelf is just below this shelf with my Bibles here. I like that physical movement. Like I finished a book, it gets either moved up or sent out of the house. And so as I finish these books, I physically move them. They get taken from the bottom shelves to these top shelves with my read books. The one exception is classics. I keep all my classics up here together. Well, a lot of them are in this pile over here right now. But I want to make sure that I'm actually filtering through the books that are on my physical TBR shelf. I have 26 books to talk about. So I'm probably going to break this up into 2 videos, 13 and 13, and then we will see what books I'm going to attempt to get through next year. Okay, so some of these books I know nothing about. Some of these books I picked up at the thrift store. This one is probably the one I know the least about. It looked interesting. It was a sweet middle grade story. It's called The Last Rabbit by Shelley Moore Thomas. I do want to attempt to get to more middle grade fiction. I am on a mission to find middle grade books that I can have a collection for my boys to read at some point, or to read alouds as a family. This one I picked up at a thrift store for a quarter. So I'm going to try it out and see what I think. I'm going to try to read a brief synopsis and then move on because there's a lot of books to get through. This one says, once there were 4 enchanted rabbit sisters. They lived on the island of Hybrasil with a magician. One by one, the rabbits left the island by boat with a boy who took them wherever they chose. When the rabbits found out where or who they were meant to be, they turned back into girls. Now only Albie, the last rabbit, remains. Even though Hybrasil is sinking, she doesn't want to go. Before she leaves, Albie must fix something that went terribly wrong. Only then can she reveal her own secret wish and discover the strength she needs to overcome her enemies. and face the truth within herself. So this one seems sweet. I'm not sure anything about it. I need to look it up on Goodreads to make sure. This book is on my list for 2026. The next book is Maria by Michelle Morin. This is a novel of Maria von Trapp. You know the name and the iconic songs, but do you know her real story? This dramatic novel, based on the woman glamorized in The Sound of Music, brings Maria to life as never before. In the 1950s, Oscar Hammerstein is asked to write the lyrics to a musical based on the life of a woman named Maria von Trapp. He's intrigued to learn that she was once a novice who hoped to live quietly as an Austrian nun before her abbey sent her away to teach a widowed baron's sickly child. What should have been a 10-month assignment, however, unexpectedly turned into a marriage proposal, and when the family was forced to flee their home to escape the Nazis, it was Maria who instructed them on how to survive using nothing but the power of their voices. I picked this one up recently. I'm excited to put it on the list for 2026. This book is one that's been on my list for quite a while. This one is Wonder. I found it at a thrift store a year or so ago. It is a middle grade fiction book. August Pullman was born with a facial difference that prevented him from going to a mainstream school until now. He's about to enter 5th grade at Beecher Prep. And if you've ever been the new kid, then you know how hard that can be. The thing is, Augie's just an ordinary kid with an extraordinary face. But can he convince his new classmates that he's just like them, despite appearances? So this one, we started to watch the movie at like a fun day for our middle schoolers. I used to be a middle school teacher, and I remember it, and it was such a sweet story so far, but I didn't get to finish it because we didn't finish the movie, which is fine. I just never went and found it myself. This one, as a middle school teacher, I want to read this. It's probably going to make me cry though, so I don't know. It's probably why I put it off a little bit, but it's on my 26 and 2026 list, so it's going to motivate me to pick it up finally. Another middle grade book that is on my list is The Book Wanderers, Pages & Co. by Anna James. This one is, ever since her mother's disappearance, 11-year-old Tilly Pages has found comfort in the stories of Pages & Co., her grandparents' bookshop. But when her favorite characters Anne of Green Gables and Alice from Wonderland start showing up at the shop, Tilly's adventures become very real. Not only can she follow Anne and Alice to their books, she discovers she can now book wander into any story she chooses. Tilly's surprising new ability leads her to fun and exciting adventures, but danger may be lurking on the very next page. That sounds like such a sweet middle school book. So that one is on my list. And that is Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. I've already read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was recommended to me by one of my 6th grade science students. She had read it, and it lined up with so many things that we were talking about in our science discussions. I thought that was fantastic to have a 6th grader recommend a classic to you. And not only that, but as a science teacher, having things go right hand in hand with what we're talking about was phenomenal. So I made sure to pick up this book, and I want to get to this one this year. Another book that I feel like I should have read by now. There's so many books that I'm like, yeah, I really should have read that at some point, and I've never read it, and that is The Giver by Lois Lowry. This one I honestly know nothing about, and again, I love to go into books blind, but I'm going to read you a little bit of the back of the book. Life in the community where Jonas lives is idyllic. Designated birth mothers produce newborn children who are assigned to appropriate family units, one male, one female to each. Citizens are assigned their partners to their jobs. No one thinks to ask questions. Everyone obeys. The community is a precisely choreographed world without conflict, inequality, divorce, unemployment, injustice, or choice. Everyone is the same, except Jonas. At the ceremony of 12, the community's 12-year-olds eagerly accept their predetermined life assignments. But Jonas is chosen for something special. He begins instruction in his life's work with a mysterious old man, only known as the Giver. Gradually, Jonas learns that power lies in feelings, but when his own power is put to the test, when he must try to save someone he loves, he may not be ready. Is it too soon or too late? That sounds fascinating. So that's on my list for 2026. All right, I have another stack of them. Okay, I have I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon. Russia, July 17, 1918. Under direct orders from Vladimir Lenin, Bolshevik secret police force Anastasia Romanov, along with the entire imperial family, into a damp basement in Siberia, where they face the merciless firing squad. None survive. At least that's what executioners have always claimed. Germany, February 17th, 1920, a woman bearing an uncanny resemblance to Anastasia Romanov is pulled shivering and senseless from a canal in Berlin. Refusing to explain her presence in the freezing water, she is taken to a hospital, where an examination reveals that her body is riddled with countless horrific scars. When she finally does speak, this frightened, mysterious woman claims to be the Russian Grand Duchess, Anastasia. I love the children's version of the story of Anastasia, so I am very interested in picking this one up this year. So I have 2 more classics here to share, and I love going into classics blind. So I'm just going to tell you about the title, the author, and one, they have pretty covers. But Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte is on the list for this year, and Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. These 2 are on my list. This next one is St. Thomas Aquinas, The Dumb Ox by G.K. Chesterton. I just finished my first Chesterton book, and I absolutely loved it. It was St. Francis of Assisi. So this one is on my list for the year to get to. I have Doors of Mercy, A Journey Through Salvation History with Father Jeff Kirby. I read a similar style of book, Walking with God, I think is what it was called, by Jeff Cavins earlier this year. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That look at just the big picture of salvation history, telling that story. So this one is on my list. And last but not least on this list is one that I have heard so many people talk about. I'm probably the last person to read this series, and I'm okay with that. But I have the physical copy of The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. This is volume 1. So, by Beth Brower. This is on my list for this year, and I am excited to see what all the fuss is about. All right, that is it for the first 13 books on my 26 in 2026 list. I am really excited about some of these books. A lot of them are new. All right, that is it for the first half of the books for 2026. I am so excited about these. Some of them have been on my list for a while, some of them not. But if you want to see the second half of the list, make sure you subscribe, and I will be putting out that video here soon. If you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.